Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Still a Little Salty, with your host, Christy. I know it's been a minute since we have connected, and definitely a lot of life has happened in the last, I want to say it's been over a month since any recording has been done. Um, there is no drafted guideline for this episode. This is going to be I don't know, I suppose a smorgasbord of conversations and topics and things on my mind and what I've been up to. Heather is traveling for spring break with, I'm assuming, Brent and the kiddos. So hopefully, once that is settled, her and I can definitely sit down and, you know, just kind of regroup and catch up with each other. She has definitely missed, but the show shall go on. So, last time I recorded, I was about 15 pounds heavier. So, woot woot to me for sticking to the plan. Counting calories is still continuing. And for those that are anti the calorie counting, I hear you and I understand. However, that is where I am at right now. And that is what I need to do in order to essentially like reset. I'm resetting my everyday diet. I'm resetting my mind to the type of food I was binging on versus what now I am eating. Um, Trying to genuinely provide my body with the nutrients that it needs versus what the brain says it wants. And it's working. It's working. I'm actually supposed to go to the endocrinologist now next Friday, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly contemplating just holding out a little bit longer. Um, so I guess I'll decide 48 hours prior to that appointment if I will continue on. But so yeah, 15 pounds later, I'm definitely feeling the improvement on the weight. I'm very happy that it is continuing to work in a positive. Um, but honesty on why I think part of the reason is that I lost the weight is okay. So, for those that aren't aware, Matt and I went to Viva la Mexico, alrighty, in, oh gosh, 3 weeks ago now. It was the beginning of March. He has a what they call an ops conference every year for people that are a general manager or above to discuss business. And I have gone with him. Well, we've gone together the last 3 years. This 3 years ago was the first time that he actually went as well. So it's always my request for my Christmas slash birthday gift is to buy the plane ticket and the cost of the hotel for me to stay, those 3 days there with him. So we went. It was extremely needed. The sunshine was welcoming, and just what my body needed to just sit, soak up the sun, the salty water, the sand, and just enjoy, you know, time away from work and daily living and what life has and was like, prior to leaving. So yeah, we got there on a Monday, and he had a welcome dinner that night that I attended with him. And then he had conferences on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Wednesday night there was like an award ceremony. So we had to like dress up a little, which I think I posted photos from that. I was in like a navy blue dress, like silk type dress. And then Thursday, the beginning of the day in the morning time, there was more, I guess, meetings. And then they broke out, and that was when everyone was either going home or extending their stay. Of course, if you extend your stay, you pay for all of it. So we decided to extend until Saturday afternoon when we would fly back home. And also decided to, for the first time ever traveling internationally, to leave the resort and venture out into the world and the unknown. So we were in Cancun, and we were at a resort, Ava or Ava, and it was nice. I actually got to catch up with one of the wives who has now become a dear friend of mine, Lauren. I also got to see another dear friend, Jody, and just catch up with people. So that was fun. So spend time with them up until Thursday when everyone broke out into doing their own thing. And Matt and we chose to go to Playa del Carmen and never been. So, anyone who knows my husband and I knows that we are both in transportation and logistics. Um, we have, he more so than I, has a logistics brain as far as like mapping out things, planning things. I am very organized, OCD, as far as needing to know to the T what the plans are. And so the original plan my lovely husband thought was going to be was taking the public bus. Now, let me rewind back to when we landed in Cancun. We were like, we got there, I think, like an hour early. We landed an hour early, which was awesome. Um, but when we were walking through the airport, there was like no one there. And I know part of it was because of the stuff going on with the cartel on the West Coast and a lot of people being afraid to travel to Mexico, which cannot say that I wasn't among those people, but I also was not missing this trip and this sunshine because if you watch this and you live in Northeast Ohio, I don't need to explain it, So we get to the Cancun airport and we're like the only people leaving a plane and walking through the airport. And so obviously we stick out like sore thumbs along with other people on the plane. And we get pulled by like security and the woman like asked if we had like food and stuff in our bag and we're like, yeah, I have a protein bar. And she's like, okay. And then that was it. And it was just weird. It was so weird. And then we start walking to where the transportation is because his company sets up the transportation to get to the resort. So we're walking through, and it is like a field of hyenas just ready to go. And they are bombarding us, like asking us if we want to transport with them, if we want to book with them, if we want, we're like, no, 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 we're just passing through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these people, like, I felt like the crowd was getting like tighter and tighter of like hyenas trying to like get their prey. And I'm like, I don't want you to talk to me right now. I just want to get to the transportation that was booked for us. So I was getting a little agitated, and I know Matt could feel it and sense it. And so he looks at me when finally we get outside. And actually, okay, so when we get outside, this guy comes up to us and he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, I know what transportation you have. And we're like, you do? It was a lie. He didn't. He did not. He was absolutely lying. Excuse me. So finally, we find the true transportation and we're waiting for our bus to take us to Ava. And I look at Matt and I'm like, we are absolutely not not coming back to the airport on Thursday afternoon to then get onto the public bus right now. Maybe even several months ago, it was a great idea. But right now, it's not happening, not happening. I'm not doing it. He's like laughing, but also agitated. And then he's like, okay, fine. So he asks the transportation company that is his company hired, and they're like, your best bet would be to get with the concierge at your resort to discuss transportation for Thursday. And we're like, all right. So I'm like looking at him and I'm like already off to a great start with our plan. And so we get to the resort, beautiful, the food, phenomenal. I'm continuing on my journey of eating what provides my body the right nutrients, what is healthy for me. And there's a lot of fruits and vegetables and fresh food and fresh fish and fresh meat. It was so good. I never have complaints when we travel to these resorts. I hear so many people complain about the food, and I'm like, why? Like, it's all inclusive, and there's so much of a selection. Like, if you can't find something, you are by far the pickiest eater on the planet, and you probably shouldn't leave your home. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Anyways, we um we get to um our room, and we go down to the beach and we soak up the sun, and we did good not burning and all that. So anyways, a few days go by, I'm sticking to the gym, I'm doing it, I'm taking my vitamins and all that, and Thursday rolls around and it's time to head to Playa del Carmen. So, excuse me, we go to the concierge and we ask them if they could book us the transportation there. And so it's a public taxi. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. And the guy books it for us because I'm sure people know this, but I'll still explain. The concierge has deals with like the local transportation companies and taxis and everything. So they have rates that they have agreed upon. So they call on your behalf. So finally the taxi comes, and it's a bit of a hoopty that picks us up, and it's a lady and she's super nice. However, anyone that has traveled internationally, specifically to countries like, Mexico or the Dominican Republic, know that their transportation is kind of a free for all. There's no other way to put it. It is a free for all. They do act and drive how they wish. Like, there's no such thing as like using a blinker to get into the other lane. They just kind of do it. And if there's a car coming, oh well, let's just pray that they stop. So she's driving us, and again, really nice lady, but she is on her phone the entire time. And Matt keeps looking at me and like going like this, like look, and I'm looking and I'm laughing and I'm like, I just pray that we get there safely, we don't get into an accident. So we're driving, and I'm seeing like a lot of like guards, like army, I guess military guards there, cops, and I'm like they have these like big machine guns and stuff, and I'm like, oh gosh, like did we make a mistake leaving the resort? Are we okay? And it was an hour, almost an hour drive from our resort to Playa del Carmen. And so we finally get there. Praise, praise, praise the transportation gods. So we did not book at a like resort. We booked at a normal like Hilton, and that made me a little nervous too. But I'm like, you know what, we got this. So we we check in, and we're like 2 blocks from the beach, and we get our bathing suits on and all that stuff, and sunscreen and lather up, and we get walking, and we're walking down like one of the main strips, and there's obviously like a lot of street vendors and like areas to buy things, and we're fine at first, and then we pass this like guy, and he like comes up to us and like is whispering, yo amigo, you want some of that blueness or something like that. And I was like, what? What did you just ask? And Matt's like, no, no. And then he looks at me and he's like, he's asking if we want drugs. And I about had a meltdown because it was another pack of hyenas again. And clearly Matt and I stick out like sore thumbs. I don't know if it's because I have like a nose piercing and I have a sleeve tattoo, and he's got this like nice goatee and he's bald. I don't know if that's what we scream to like the locals, that we are like massive partiers, but newsflash, we are so not massive partiers anymore, at least. Like, it has been years. Literally, my husband is sober. I am like essentially allergic to alcohol, so I really cannot drink. I quit nicotine well over a year ago. Like we are the like lamest of lame, essentially. We just want to like relax, enjoy company, sit and make memories, laugh about things, and just enjoy life, but not in the sense of partying. So it's like one after the other, like boom, boom, boom. And Matt can see it on my face. And so I'm like, I just want to get to the beach. I just want to get to the beach. You know, all the reviews were like hyping up Playa del Carmen, that it's like better than Cancun and it's more like laid back and pretty and blah, blah, blah. So we get to the beach and it was like, like, like a scary movie. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I mean, it was beautiful, the water, but like, I felt like I was in spring break in like Fort Lauderdale or like Miami. Like, it was the most jam packed beach. It was even worse than when we were in Cancun at our resort. And there's just like, there's interest all around us, like interesting people and great people watching, great success at that, especially for someone maybe who's a little bit more relaxed than I was. So there was no way I was even going into the water. I was not leaving my stuff. I told Matt, I said, I will sit here with our things. You go into the water and I am observing. I have like my eagle eyes and the eyes in the back of my head on high alert. So, you know, he's swimming around like the man child he is, and it's adorable. He turns into like a child when we get to the beach, like swimming and flopping around and like, and I'm just like observing and observing. And like there's like, you know, locals that keep walking by with like vendor type stuff and they're like giving the look. And I'm like, do not make eye contact, Christy. Do not make eye contact. And so finally he comes out of the water and he's like, are you really not going to go in? And I'm like, I am absolutely not going in right now. And so he's like, all right, well, let's go for a walk somewhere. And I'm like, okay. And there was like a lot of people on like the main strip of that area. I think it was like Fifth Avenue or something like that. And this beautiful statue, which I can only assume was like a mermaid and a merman. And I definitely posted a photo of that. And I'm like, I wanted to see it. And there was like just people like all over. So I just assumed like we would just kind of blend in. So we start walking, and here it comes again, the pack of hyenas. It was like every vendor that had a male at the like tent, it was on. It was on. And I'm like, I definitely was like having a massive meltdown. And back, so, anyways, I look at Matt and I'm like, please, for the love of God, like get me back to the hotel room. Like, I need a minute. I am overwhelmed. I am like overstimulated. I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm trying to like gather my surroundings. Meanwhile, I have these hyenas like screaming at us, like, do you want drugs? It felt like screaming to me, but really they were whispering to us. And they're like coming up and like, oh, I know you. And I'm like, you don't know me. You do not know me. I don't know you and I don't like you and I don't want your stuff. So he got a little frustrated. And I mean, so we get to the room and we definitely get into a bit of a heated conversation. And I essentially told him, I'm like, Matt, this is like triggering me massively right now. It is triggering me. And the reason it's triggering me is because it's kind of reminding me of my childhood when we lived with mom and we lived in some rough areas and like people would just kind of come up to you, especially me as a child. And that's like a story for another day. But like, I essentially had been kind of approached when I was younger for things and like it just was very triggering. It was like almost like a PTSD resurfacing. And I'm like, I just need a moment to like gather my thoughts, absorb what happened, and prepare myself for the fact that it's probably going to continue to happen for the next 2 days because we are here from Thursday afternoon until Saturday afternoon. So I get take a shower, I get cleaned up and all dolled up, and I'm like, I'm ready for dinner. And he's like, you want to go out there? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go back out there. I'm going to do this. So we start walking, and essentially what I started to do was put it into overdrive and hit boost the moment that I saw a street vendor that was a male, because the females never approached us ever for anything like that. It was more so, oh, you interested in seeing like the hats or the jewelry? And honestly, I'm kind of sad that like those males did that, because honestly, they missed out on anyone making money, because I wanted to buy a few things for people back home. And I knew that my chances of getting a better deal were there versus at the resort. But I was not having it. I'm like, I know the moment I stop at your vendor lady, I know that that man 2 doors down is coming over and is going to heckle us if we want some of the Mary J or Blue Pill or whatever else they were offering. I'm like, I ain't doing it. So I would like speed walk past them. And Matt's like laughing. I'm like, stop feeding into this. Like, stop giving them any more ammo to keep approaching. I'm sorry that your bald head and beautiful goatee is the reason that they're attracted to this. Really, they probably saw like my tattoos too, and they're like, oh yeah, partiers. Oh, them white people, they like to party. So we get to the restaurant, and it was cool. The server was awesome. I will say, from a perspective of like supporting the local businesses, I loved immersing ourselves in the culture, and I really did love the interactions we got from those that were local that did um like help us with things. It was just awesome. So of course Matt gets like the tray of all trays when it comes to like the seafood. It was like a plethora of seafood galore, and my appetite was like, yeah, mid. His was like mid. And I'm like, what are we gonna do with all this food? And so we take it back to the hotel. We, complete the night back at the hotel, and we're listening to, and it was really cool too, actually, like, sitting on, we had like a balcony in our hotel room. We were like pretty high, fourth floor, I think, third or fourth floor, and our balcony faced the ocean. It was so cool. Like that was beautiful. So we went out in the evening, and we would hear like the streetcars and like the bikes and the tourists and the locals and the taxi drivers and the amount of tropical, exotic, for me, birds in the area and the noises. It was like a song. And it was so amazing. And all the lights, I don't actually have any complaints as far as like the culture and the experience. My complaints are literally the vendors, and the male ones to be specific. So, male vendors, if you're watching this and you're in Mexico, and specifically Playa del Carmen, and even Cancun or any of them, leave me alone the next time you see me on the streets. Do not offer me drugs, because I don't want your drugs. I don't want them. So that was Thursday night. We sleep. Well, Friday morning, I wake up and my throat is a little scratchy. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably because there's not a fan in this room, and there wasn't a fan at the resort. So the rooms are a little stale because there's nothing circulating. And I'm like, I'll be fine. But I'm like, maybe I should be a little like cautious and like load up on vitamin C or something. So, anyways, then we decide we want to go to a cenote. And for those that don't know what a cenote is, it's essentially like an underground cave system. Some of them have like caved in, and there's like an opening above that you can see the sky, but you're still swimming through like the cave system. And Matt was doing research on it, and he was like, they actually say to just go to the place, like just show up and pay there. And I'm like, all right, I'm trusting you. So we take a local taxi, and he is the greatest. He is the greatest. His name is Tito. He is awesome. So he takes us to the cenote, and we didn't even think to like book a drive, like the taxi back to the hotel after. But he was so sweet. He goes, I will pick you up. I will take you back to hotel. And we're like, yes, Tito. So we go up, and they're like, you can't book, it's full. And I'm like, it was not full when we were at the hotel like 20 minutes ago. And it said we could come here and book. So, anyways, Andy Rex is his name, said, all right, you can book. So Matt pays the $50 each or $25 each. I can't remember, but it was worth it. Okay, it was worth it. So Andy Rex tells Tito what time to be back for us. He's like, it's about an hour and a half, an hour 45 minute like travel through the cenote. And so Tito's like, I will be back to get you here. And we're like, yes, Tito, you rock. So Andy prepares that he takes our money, he gives us a locker with a key, and he preps us on what to do. We had to like scrub our body under their shower. We're like looking around, and there's these dogs. There's these local dogs, and they're so cute. And Matt and I are loving on them, and obviously missing our fur babies back at home. And Andy's talking to us, and his English is so good. His mom, I guess, was American, and his dad was from Mexico. Um, but he had been there like pretty much his whole life and worked at the cenote. And so he's like, I will be your tour guide. And then another taxi rolls up with another family. And this family is from Canada and they have like a French accent, super cool people. It was the best experience ever from an excursion standpoint and just kind of winging it. So they show up and Andy's like, yes, they can come too. So we got Andy and it was me, Matt, this family of four, and Andy. And all of a sudden, all these buses show up and they are just falling out of the bus, people by people. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to share the tour with them. And Andy's like, we aren't sharing the tour with them. I don't like big crowds. You guys are awesome. You rock. Let's get this going. He's like, we got to go. And I'm like, yes, we got to go. So we start and it's just phenomenal. Unfortunately, we couldn't take our phones to take photos, and I didn't buy the photo package because honestly, it was kind of a ripoff. So, and I was being cheap, whatever. I have the memories in my head. I remember I can see it when I close my eyes, but it was so beautiful. It's essentially like caverns like we have, but we can't swim in ours here. They can there. The water is it's cool, like cold, but I don't know how to explain the way that it feels. Like it feels fresh, just clean, soothing. I guess there's a lot of calcium in the water, so it's actually really good for your skin. So Andy's like, traveling around with us in this underground cave system, and we're like swimming and jumping in, and there's fish that are, I guess, blind and they can't really see, and there's like little catfish and oh my gosh, if you have the chance, and I will put in the description of this episode the exact cenote that we went to in Playa del Carmen, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And I hope that you get Andy because he is the greatest. He is hilarious. He is kind. He is informative. He knows the area. He knows the local stuff to do. And he's just caring. And he clearly cares about what he does. And so I hope that it's a protected cenote because when we were traveling there, like we were going deep into the jungle essentially, and they're building up all over it, like all around. They're building like houses and hotels. It's just sad. So Andy says it's protected. I hope it is. Actually, speaking of, I do need to write a review for him on there. I feel really bad I haven't done it yet, but that leads me to like continuing on our journey. So the journey's over. And we're like, Andy, you rock. We gave him a nice tip. And we walk back out into the parking lot, and there's our boy Tito. And I was so happy. I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, thank you, Tito, you local, wonderful taxi driver of Playa del Carmen. Like, the greatest. So he takes us back to the hotel and he's like, when do you fly back? And we're like, tomorrow to Cancun. And he goes, do you have a driver? And we're like, no, would you like to be our driver? And he's like, yes. So we tell him when to pick us up. We said 11:30 at the hotel, 11:30, 12 o'clock. This man was waiting for us that morning because we could see him down below because the taxi's kind of like collected there outside of our hotel. Oh my gosh, I could hug him and squeeze him and just tell him how wonderful he is. He has a family. His children are in college or graduated. I want to say one is a doctor or a physical therapist. Just really down to earth man. And I was using the like translate app on the iPhone to like I would type out a sentence in American English and it would convert it into Spanish. So I guess the one thing that I would take away from all this is I think that I want to get like a Duolingo type of subscription to refresh on my Spanish because I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, but I didn't continue it. And so I've lost it. And it's, people love to say in this country, like, if you come here, you need to be able to speak English and read it. Okay, I agree. But if I'm going to another country, I feel like I should be able to communicate to the locals. And yes, a lot of countries, the ones that we've been to, do have signs and stuff in English for Americans. And to that, I say thank you. But it's also just goes to show how selfish America is because I don't ever see signs that are in different languages to help people that come to be tourists here. So, anyways, I definitely want to freshen up on my Spanish for like when we go back, if we go back. Actually, there's a wonderful person at our church, Christy, who is also um, taking Spanish lessons. And I told her, like, maybe I'll do it with her and we can talk to each other in Spanish. So that's a goal of mine. Um, but so that was Friday. And then I start feeling sicker. And I'm like, it's happening again. So I'm texting Lauren. I'm like, by chance, do you feel sick? And she's like, not gonna lie, I definitely don't feel good. And I'm like, I'm definitely sick. And so it started with like a very, very, very sore, scratchy throat, like extremely. And I'm like, here we go again. Christy bringing home the icky. And so Friday we walk, I don't know, about 5 blocks inland. Yes, pray for me to a local, very local, authentic, like not a like I mean, I guess everything is local, but like I feel like the stuff closer to like the tourist area is just kind of like trendy and like the food is more authentic the further in you get because you're immersing yourself in like the local culture, like the people that live there every single day and you know the restaurants and all. Anyway, so we go inland and we walk there and I do my speed walk past vendors so that they don't ask if I want drugs, so that I don't get triggered and ruin my appetite for the feast that's about to be upon us with this local restaurant. So it was awesome. I don't remember what it was called. I'm sure Matt does, but it was delicious. It was the most authentic Mexican food that I have ever had in my life. And I will tell you right now, it did not upset my stomach. Matter of fact, none of the food that I ate there upset my stomach. And that made me realize that our stuff we already knew it was so over processed and filled like so much filler in our food here. But that just solidified it even more because typically here in the States, Mexican food tears me up and it did not there. So we go there Friday, wake up Saturday. So we go back to the hotel, we walk back, minimal issues, a few comments, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm just I'm ready for this portion of the trip to be over. Like I don't want to keep experiencing this. Like so anyways, that's like the downfall of like going to these places, especially because like the cartel and stuff, it's all local. Like I know that those men that were offering us drugs work directly with the cartel. Like I'm not stupid. And that's the disturbing aspect of it. And it's also the sad part of it all because that country very much depends on the drugs and the tourism. And then whatever type of manufacturing and production happens out of there. So Saturday morning rolls around and I'm like, let's go like enjoy the sun a little bit longer. Like let's go up to the pool. I'm starting to feel a little sicker and I'm like, oh gosh. And then pack up, We meet our lovely taxi driver, Tito, and he drives us back to the Cancun airport. There's no issues. We had direct flight to Cancun and home. Um, we land Saturday evening, come home, and it's about to be TMI. But like, I was having bowel movements like pretty regularly that trip up until like the end. And it started to be a struggle bus like Thursday evening. And then Friday was like non existent. And I knew that I was in trouble. And I told Matt, I'm sorry, but I'm not like Saturday rolled around. I'm like, I can't eat like anything. I will load up on like papaya because it's like high in fiber. And I'm like, but your wifey is in trouble. Okay. Like, she's got some stuff going on. I'm hurting. Feel like I can just feel the blockages all in that region. And so we get home, and I'm like, you are not driving home directly. Like, we are stopping at the store. And for those that don't want to talk about bowel movements and stuff or hear about it, you probably should just skip through this for the next, like, maybe 5 minutes or so. But I'm like, here we go. You're going to take me to Walgreens, and I'm going to get some suppositories because I think that I'm going to need some serious assistance to get this out. And he's like, okay, let's do this. So we get home. I'm loving on Navy and Charlie, and I'm like, I gotta do it. And my sturdy turdy was just hanging on for dear life. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna give you all the details of what I experienced. But what I did experience was essentially a birthing from my rear end with probably the absolute longest bowel movement in the history of bowel movements. And I was like screaming for dear life and was like, this is not happening. This is not happening. And I honestly wish that I would take a picture for my close friends and family that are interested or laugh at this kind of stuff because it was like a freak of nature that came from my body. And I have no idea how it happened and what demon possession was in my bowels, but I was screaming to the porcelain gods to please let me have this happen and not have to go to the hospital with like an impacted butthole. And so I passed her, or it, or whatever you want to call it. It is past. It is past. It leaves my body, and I could literally feel the relief of the pressure everywhere. And I was like, how in the heck did this happen? And where did this come from? Because when I started to notice that I was having a issue on Thursday evening, I did not eat a lot. Yes, I ate that like Mexican meal on Friday evening, but prior to that, I had like nothing all day, like maybe a little bit of yogurt and papaya. And Saturday morning, papaya and coffee. And so that was interesting and made me realize that I will probably pack suppositories moving forward because I don't know if this is like a new thing when it comes to my hysterectomy and my bowels. But I was like, holy S, what is happening? Well, I just realized this about 2 days ago that at the resort, a few days prior to Thursday, the coffee lady at one of the little like coffee shops in the resort asked me if I wanted lactate milk. And for some reason, my dumb ASS said yes. Why did I say yes? I'm not really sure, but I did. I said yes to putting that lactate type of milk in my coffee. I have never in my life drank something like that, okay? I have not, and I didn't feel different. I didn't think anything of it. Went about my business. I was like, this coffee is good. I'm going to drink it and I'm going to go get another cup of coffee. And that other cup of coffee, I got the same thing. I got lactate again. And I am thinking that that lactate sucked all the moisture out of my sturdy turdy and was the reason that I was having the issues that I was having. So, note to self, I will never in my life ever again have a lactate or whatever lactose free milk ever. And I do believe that I am like a little bit lactose intolerant, but I think that the level of lactose intolerant I have is worth it because I don't get blocked up like that. Okay. So that was an interesting aspect of my journey in Mexico and home. And so I came down with the ickness, okay? And Saturday I went to bed and I'm like, oh gosh, I have a lot of like drainage. I got like a tickle in the back of my throat because I could feel it draining. And then Sunday I wake up and my one eye is like starting to get crustiness. And I slept like garbage and I was elevating myself. I had like constant coughing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm like, but I felt like strep because of how sore my throat was. So I'm like, I got strep. So I worked on Monday, and then Monday evening, I'm like, I can't take this. I really think that I should go to like the minute clinic and just test for strep just in case, because if it is, they can give me some medicine. And so I get to the minute clinic, and they're like, what's going on? Blah. So I tell them, and I'm like my throat is like super sore and it feels like strep. I'm like, and I do have like green mucus coming out of my body, which typically like suggests a bacteria. And she goes, I'll test you for strep. And so she shoved it in my throat and swaddled around. And I was like, ugh, I'm like gagging. I came back immediately, no. And so she automatically goes, you probably have COVID. And I'm like, okay. But like I've had COVID like 5 other times and I've never had like green mucus. I've had mucus for sure, but like it was always like white or clear. Sorry again, TMI, I know. But like there's no such thing as TMI with this woman. Like you will learn this as you continue to follow and listen to our podcast. I don't really have much of a filter. I have quite a bit of body bowel movements and body like burping and all of it. All of it, okay? That is me. So she's like, probably have COVID. So take Sudafed, Tylenol, ibuprofen, rotate between the two, elevate when you're sleeping, take a bunch of coffee on, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So I do that all week. And I'm like, this is miserable. And like towards the end of the week, so Thursday night, I started noticing that my left eye is getting like massive crust. It is disgusting. And it's red. And I'm like, I have pink eye. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have pink eye for my sturdy turdy that I had come out of my body on Saturday night? And I'm like, that's a little scary. And so then I go to bed, I put eye drops in, hot compress, clean it up, I go to bed. And I wake up and my eye is crusted over on Friday. And I'm like, what is happening to my life? It's all like yuck. And I'm like, no. So I message my boss and I'm like, I can't do this. I got to go to like the urgent care or something because my eye doctor is closed on a Friday. Like, what? So I'm finding a new eye doctor. So anyone local to Hudson, if you have suggestions, put it in the comments below because I am over it. I guess I could say it's like the Cleveland Eye Clinic in downtown Hudson. I'm not going there anymore. We're having problems with him anyway, so whatever. So, anyways, I go to the urgent care and I'm like, listen, I got tested for strep. It came back no. This does not feel like a COVID situation for me. Okay. I've had COVID before. Like, let's not go there. I'm like, I have green discharge. And she's like, nope, nope, it's COVID. And I'm like, when did the green mucus go from being bacterial to now it's bacterial and viral? Because I was always told and raised that green means bacteria and it means antibiotic if you want to take one. Discharge that's like more clear or like maybe like a little white or whatever is like viral and that your body has to just kind of fight off along with whatever additional support you want to give to it. So she goes, it's probably COVID. And I'm like, oh my God, like I need some relief here, lady, because this has been going on for over a week now. I feel like I have like bacteria infection going on, especially because then both my eyes were crusty, cruster crabs. And I'm like, this is disgusting. And she's like, it's not pink eye. She goes, more than likely, your viral infection is turning into a sinus infection, and you're going to need an antibiotic come Monday. I'm like, Friday to Monday. So she's like, I'm going to prescribe you an antibiotic, but I suggest you take it on Monday. Let me tell you what Christy did. Christy went and filled that antibiotic and started taking it on Saturday. Okay. Okay. Because Christy couldn't handle the fact that this was continuing to happen for far too long. And I feel like the doctors were quite ignorant that I met along the way, and they just automatically went to COVID. So where I'm going with this is I feel like everything is COVID anymore. That is what all the healthcare providers and specialists want to go to. They just want to take the easy way out and say, you have COVID. Like, no, I don't. I know I don't have COVID. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of it. Anyways, so I took the antibiotic and I still have some lingering stuff going on. Obviously, I sound kind of nasally on this episode and I apologize, but this is an episode of just all of it, all the information I'm catching up with you on in the last month of my life. And yeah, so sorry for my nasal sound, but I'm still kicking it. Sorry for the bowel movement information, but it is hilarious. If you don't find it hilarious, then we can't be friends. I'm just kidding. We can still be friends because it is kind of gross, but like I think it's funny. And my husband thought it was hilarious. Casey thought it was hilarious. Speaking of Casey, shout out if anyone ever noticed in the last episode, but that is a new sign that my lovely, beautiful friend got me for my birthday. And it is professionally done, aside, unlike the one I had up there. The one I had up there was pretty cool because it was my handwriting, but this one is from Casey. So shout out Casey. Thank you for my beautiful, still a little salty sign. So what's next? I am thinking about completely color drenching this office into like a green color. I color drenched our hallway outside um, to a like beige gray color. And I completely color drenched. So the ceiling, the trim, the walls are all the same color. And I absolutely love it. We did that to our bedroom a while ago. And our bathroom upstairs as well. So anyone who is like on the fence of color drenching, I can add some photos to this episode at the end. I don't know, or like, I don't know how I'll do it, but like, just look it up, I guess, because color drenching is awesome, especially if you have like white trim. It helps eliminate the issues with like scuffing when it comes to white trim. So yeah, that I think is what's next. I really think that I want to paint this room. So for those that are listening and can see the color of the walls, I know I don't have a ton of people leave comments, but if you could leave comments on what you think the color should be. Doesn't mean I'm going to go with what you suggest. Probably not, or maybe. But I'm just curious. I'm thinking like a deeper green color. So I want it moody for sure. Like this is a light green, okay? So I would want it darker than this. And I would do the ceiling, the trim, and the walls, especially because this office slash podcast room is the middle room. So Landon's room's over here, and then the guest room is over there. So this is smack dab in the middle, and both rooms are painted the same color gray. So I think it would be really cool and dramatic to have the middle room a different color and like a darker, moodier color. So yeah, that's something that's on my mind. Um, we are coming up to Passover, Good Friday, Easter, all that fun stuff. And it's exciting for me because I understand it all now. I understand it. So I'm really looking forward to celebrating Easter with my church family, the Refuge. Um, I'm continuing down my path. I won't lie and say that I haven't been like stumbling along the way. I think honestly, part of the issue and like my oomph and passion and drive for it is one, I've been sick. Two, the weather is not helping me. Like, I feel like I am definitely officially like a seasonal depression type of person. And some of that could be due to like my hormones too, since the hysterectomy. Um, and just maybe my mood in general since my hysterectomy. Like, so I think that like internal bodily like issue stuff going on along with like seasonal outside world stuff going on has kind of like dampened or depressed my mood a little bit, but my journey is still very much active. I'm still leading the Bible study as of right now. We are on the book of Titus. I think we have 2 more chapters left. And then I believe Jonathan is going to do the next Bible study. I'm still, unfortunately, I missed church the Sunday we got back because I was so sick. I'm like, I can't do this. And we have older people that are part of the church. And I'm like, I'm not bringing whatever this is to them. Like, they're a church that is welcoming. Please do not get me wrong. Like, they did not abide by all the mask and stuff, all that back in COVID days. Like, they were like, everyone is welcome here, regardless of what your views are on like COVID and stuff. Like, you're welcome. So they definitely didn't make me feel like I couldn't go, but I felt so awful on Sunday. And I'm like, I just need sleep. Like, I just need sleep. So anyways, that's the second Sunday I've missed in the last 6 months of like actively seeking out my path of with my faith and my walk with Jesus. So that was a little disappointing, but I know that he's not disappointed in me, and I have conversations with him all the time, and I ask for forgiveness on all the bad things or sinful things that I do, or my cussing. I'm working on still, but I'm very excited for the holiday coming up, Easter, and what it actually means with the resurrection of Jesus, and getting to celebrate it to its full meaning with my family and my friends is something that I am really excited and grateful for. I could honestly cry just thinking about it. So, but come to the refuge on Easter Sunday. If you don't have plans, come to the refuge, celebrate with us, celebrate with the family, meet Pastor Bill. Just come. And if you're not following them on Facebook, follow them on Facebook and Instagram and Spotify. And if you're questioning where to start or where to begin, just show up. Just show up. So I know this episode wasn't fully focused on like faith, but I do believe that God was with me through my journey of Mexico with Matt and I. I am grateful for the life and the experiences that we get to continue to have. And I'm excited for what's to come. And so, with that, I love you. I appreciate you for listening in on this mess of an episode. I hope that it brought you laughs. I hope that it brought you faces of interest or, ew, that's a little gross. I hope it brought you all the things. And I hope that you continue to follow along in this path of still a little salty. And as you can see, I am me. I am me, just sprinkled with faith, with Jesus, with understanding and reading and learning the Bible. But I'm still me. I'm still doing this life the same way that I have done it before, with openness, honest, no such thing as TMI, and still humorous and still just wanting to make people laugh and bring some entertainment. And I look forward to the next time that I get to sit and talk with you all. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. Bye bye.